In July 1937, Amelia Earhart, Fred Noonan, and this Lockheed Electra aircraft vanished without a trace. One thing is certain, the aircraft is still somewhere on Earth, waiting to be found. For the first time, I'm going to show you an object in a satellite image that has the exact shape and size of an Electra wing, like the one you see in this photograph. This may be what the Electra wing looks like 87 years later. In 2024, Google Earth upgraded their satellite images in this area to the maximum resolution available commercially. Objects like aircraft wreckage that before then were impossible to detect are now becoming visible for the first time. Here is a highly magnified image with several objects that stand out for their brightness and edges and corners, not at all natural. The one in the red circle closely resembles an Electra outer wing, which I have added a faint yellow outline to help you visualize it. So where is this place? Starting from North America, we fly to the Pacific Ocean, an ocean that is so vast you almost cannot see any continents from this point of view. The yellow pin is the island we're headed for. It's literally in the middle of nowhere, and the only way there is by ship. Perhaps you can charter a ship from Fiji or Hawaii. It's at least 5 days at sea each way, so charter it for at least 2 weeks, better yet a month, just to be on the safe side. But before that, most important, you'll need permission from Kiribati, which is pronounced Kiribati, since the island is part of that sovereign nation, and not to mention also being part of the Phoenix Island Protected Area, which you will also need permission from too. Except if we go by Google Earth. This island in Earhart's era was known as Gardner Island, now called Nikumaroro. It's long been thought Earhart might have ended up here. That would have been in July 2nd, 1937. So far, no proof or proof for any other outcome. In October of 2025, I found interesting man-made looking objects on the island using Google Earth, where you see the pin in the southwest shore. Check out my other videos for details about that. The objects we're talking about in this video are elsewhere. And these objects, one in particular, are by far the most identifiable as pieces of the Electra. This is an area of the island known as the Settlement. In 1939, just 2 years after Earhart vanished, a coconut farming settlement was built on this part of the island. It was eventually abandoned in 1963. Since then, the islands remain uninhabited except for visits by Earhart researchers. And since 1989, 10 separate private expeditions have explored the island. In addition to other things, they've found small pieces of aircraft aluminum scattered throughout the settlement area, although none yet confirmed as coming from an Electra. But keep it in mind that settlers in this area have been known to have aircraft aluminum pieces in their possession in the past. Folks, I know you're here to hopefully see evidence of the Electra pieces, and we're almost there. In fact, they're in view right now. Just stick with me one more minute, please, for an important point. Here's a look back at how the settlement looked in the 1940s. I'll change our viewpoint to match this photo taken by a Navy aircraft, probably during World War II. This is what it looked like then. Now, 7 days after Earhart disappeared, another Navy plane overflew the island searching for her from about this altitude, and they saw signs of habitation, but no Electra and no people, and they flew on to the next island. So if there was a plane down there, why didn't they see it? Well, it's not as easy as it sounds, and I'll demonstrate. All the time you've been looking at this area, there actually has been a scale model of a Lockheed Electra that I have placed on the shore sitting in plain sight. Have you noticed it yet? No? All right, let me show you where it's at. There it is. Earhart's plane was bare aluminum, which quickly turns dull gray and blends into the terrain, as you can see here. This will also give you a feel for the size and proportions of an Electra relative to the terrain. So now you have a better idea of what we're looking for. And now for the main event. I want to turn our attention to the shore over here. Look along the shore where the turquoise water meets the grayish land for anything unusual. This is where the objects I showed you earlier are located. Look for something similar in size to the wing of the Electra model I just showed you. Look for objects with different coloration, straight lines, right angles, anything that does not look natural like the rest of the shoreline. I'm going to give you a little help here with a red circle around what I'm talking about. And we'll just zoom in all the way as far as Google Earth will let us go. Here are the objects I showed you at the beginning of the video. I'm going to switch to another graphics program in this same image where we can do some more analysis. Okay, now I'm working in another graphics program where I can more easily overlay some various things to analyze what we have here. First off, I'm not trying to convince you this is Amelia Earhart's Electra, just that there is something here worth further investigation. We'll know what it is when boots are on the ground and somebody just walks over to the shore and takes a look. It won't be that hard. Okay, just orientation. I've got a 10-foot scale up here to keep us reminded how far zoomed in we are. And yes, it's very blurry, I agree. Note this right here. That is 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters, which is approximately 1 foot square. Okay, this is 1 pixel in a satellite image. Okay, so that's as good as it gets. And as you can see, there's been some post-processing here that blends pixels together, so you think you see more resolution than that, but that's the core resolution that we have to work with. And also notice that I've tilted the pixel because the satellite scans are not necessarily horizontal or vertical. The satellite angle that it passes, it will cause the pixels to be orientated maybe at some angle like this, and I'm just guessing. These lines here are probably something to do with the way the satellite scan lines up, because they kind of go across the entire picture. Because this is right where the water meets the shoreline, we can't be sure whether this object we're looking at is out of the water or partially submerged or completely submerged. The water here is so extremely clear that you wouldn't know. Now, before we go any further, let me just point out here that this white area here is just surf. It's just the water breaking there as it gets near the shallows of the shoreline. So just ignore that. My first impression when I saw this is fantastic. We have over here an engine, and connected to it over here we have a wing. Maybe, maybe not. Let's take a closer look. All right, so I've overlaid an outline of a Lockheed Electra and matched it up over here to what I think might be a wing, and that's a pretty good match. Not sure what's going on in here. Definitely don't see a fuselage or tail. And look here, this is way too big to be an engine. So don't get hung up on that. We'll come back to that in a minute. Just ignore that for now. But look, let's keep our eye on the prize here. If this is a wing, that's all it takes. And a wing would likely stay intact, given that it's so strongly built, so much structure, so many rivets. If you're going to find one piece intact, I would expect that to be a wing. Before we go any further, I need to demonstrate to you that I have accurately scaled this Electra I've overlaid in the satellite picture to the right dimensions. And you can see this red line here. It says it's 55-foot wingspan, and that's correct for Electra. And what I want you to notice is that if I change this here, it changes. So this is actually a dynamic ruler of sorts. Okay, if I move it around here, the dimension changes. And what I want to do is put this on 2 recognizable points, like the corner right here and in the satellite picture, and this bright spot right here, which says 38.1 feet. And now I'm going to go back to Google Earth and use the ruler tool there and measure that in the actual satellite picture in Google Earth, and that should say about 38 feet. I'm going to click right there, and I'm going to take it over to this point right here. And you see I've got 38.18 feet. So that confirms that my scaling of the Electra and the overlay in the previous image is correct. Here's a reminder of what we're actually looking at here. This Electra is actually a flying Electra. I'll put a link down below to it. And this is the wing section outboard of the engine. And here's Earhart's plane, just showing what we're looking at there. And here's an Electra that's under construction at the Lockheed factory. And here's the wing, which is built in sections. So perhaps the wing is detached at this joint right here. Next, I'd like to talk about the bright spot on the right side object. Not only is it bright, it's completely overexposed, and you don't see other such brightness elsewhere in the terrain. I'd like to think this is the sun reflecting off something metallic like a wing. And maybe its location is telling us something more about the object. If this is a wing, this would be near the leading edge. In April, when this image is dated, the sun has a declination of about 7 degrees north, and the island latitude is about 4 degrees south. So combined, at midday, the sun will be about 11 degrees north of directly overhead, north being the top of the image. Look again at the Electra wing picture, and I've added 2 red arrows indicating the geometry of how this kind of reflection would occur and its location. So this might also be indicating the presence of a curved surface, like the leading edge of a wing. All right, let's turn our attention back to this item on the left here that we haven't talked about yet. And I'm going to take this and I've modified the image. I've just photoshopped it, you might say. I've sharpened the contrast and removed some of the color saturation so we can see the lines a little bit easier. Now, we've already established this object doesn't seem to match anything on the airplane, but don't assume the airplane's in one piece or that all the pieces are there or that they're still in the right shape of the airplane. Only the sturdiest objects are going to survive 80 years, more than 80 years in the surf here. So what we do know is we have some unusual coincidences here. We have straight line, right angle, and the whole object is perpendicular to this wing-like object over here. So it seems related. It's brightly colored. You just don't see these kinds of straight lines in nature. Look around the island yourself with Google Earth and see what you see. See if you see anything that stands out like this. So I think it's related. You'll know when you get there what it is or isn't. That's all I have to show you about these objects. Let me finish by saying that you did not hear me say, yippee, I found the Electra. No, what I am saying is there is an object visible in Google Earth that matches the outboard wing in shape and size within the limits of the satellite image resolution, and maybe another related object, and that's all. Now, this hasn't been visible in Google Earth imagery prior to 2024 because they are of lesser resolution, and you can see that yourself by using the View menu Historical Imagery slider. If these objects turn out to be Electra wreckage, it begs the question, how has it been there so long without being discovered? Or how is it possible Navy search planes didn't find Earhart and Noonan when they searched the island just days after she disappeared? Let me demonstrate for you. A search plane would have at most 15 to 20 seconds to scan this area in front of us as they flew by, less time than we have been viewing this picture. Now in this picture there are 6 people down there on that beach, and if you haven't noticed them by now, and you were a Navy search pilot, it's too late. You would have already flown past. See how long it takes you to find all 6 people. By the way, this drone footage comes from Richard Brooks, who was with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution expedition in 2018. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, this person's kneeling, and 5 and 6 down there between the trees. The red arrow points to about where the objects are located. Notice that from the path along the shore where people naturally choose to walk, the objects are hidden because of the drop-off of the shore where it meets the water. You would have to walk over to the edge and look down to see them. And because of the rough terrain over there, it's not where people would normally go unless they had a reason to. After the settlers arrived in 1939, it could have been years before anyone happened upon this particular section of reef and found wreckage. Unfortunately, the drone video stops there, so we'll go back to this point of view and just zoom in on the section of shoreline here where we were looking at objects earlier. And there you have it. And this might even be one of them there. Critics argue that because this island has been searched many times without conclusive proof that Earhart was here, it's time to give it up. I disagree. To simply say this island has already been searched is a huge overstatement. Take the settlement area you see here. It's one of the most thoroughly researched spots on the island, with teams of people working here for weeks at a time. Yet Tom King, the lead archaeologist on more expeditions than anyone, has said he thinks there's still more work to be done in the settlement area alone, and it would be his first choice for future research expeditions. Given that we may have wreckage a short walk from the settlement, I couldn't agree more. This island has never been systematically searched from end to end. It's a huge undertaking. Actually, you might be surprised to see just how little of the island has actually been explored. To begin with, here's a good example of how easy it is to overstate that the island has been searched. In October of 1937, just 3 months after Earhart disappeared, Henry Maude and Eric Bevington came to the island, kind of a reconnaissance to check it out for future use, nothing to do with Earhart. Now, from Bevington's journal, he said on the first day he went ashore. They were anchored up here off the north end. He went ashore and he walked the beach of the entire lagoon. That's a pretty good walk. Took him pretty much all day. Now, on the second day, Bevington with Maude went in a canoe, and they did the same thing over. Just went around the lagoon, checked it out from the water. On the third day, in the morning, they did some miscellaneous things up in the north end of the island, and in the afternoon, they packed up and left. So if Earhart was standing on the beach in the lagoon waving at them, yes, they would have found her. Otherwise, probably not. The red areas here are my simplified version of where researchers have spent most of their time because they were thought to be the most promising. By my count, 10 different expeditions searching for Earhart evidence. Over the years, I'm sure all the beaches have been walked by one person or another, but very little of the island terrain beyond the shore has been explored. Mostly up here in the settlement area, and down here in the Algorimi area, and down here in what's called the Seven Site. I'm not faulting anyone here. They're all just doing the best they can with limited budgets, limited time, and the knowledge they had at the time. But don't let anyone tell you this island has been thoroughly searched. It has not. Not even a complete survey by drone, or better yet, LiDAR, if anyone's interested in doing that. Let's put what it means to search this island into perspective. Here we have Manhattan Island in New York, and here we have Nikumaroro overlaid correctly to scale. Likewise, here is Miami Beach and Nikumaroro overlaid to scale. So a fair amount of real estate to cover if and when the island is ever thoroughly searched. This evidence won't be hard to verify. The only hard part is just getting to the island. Once ashore, it's a 10 or 15-minute walk up the beach from the landing channel, and then walk over to the edge of the reef at low tide, look down, see what you see. So that's it, folks. Thank you for watching. If you found this worth further investigation, please leave a like. It does help get this video out in front of the eyes of more people.